Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the 12th Man podcast. And we've got our resident Tuesday night man, Owen Kelly, on the start of a big week as we're going to be looking ahead to Liverpool Man City. We've got Liverpool and a Man City fan on. Not Thursday night, actually tomorrow night, the way it's working this week. We're going to be in the Liverpool Man City podcast tomorrow night, so stay tuned for that. 7 o'clock tomorrow night, we'll be putting Liverpool and Man City fan together to ask them all about Sunday's game.
Surprise you were able to find one of them.
Oh, well, there's a few out there. Look hard enough. But tonight we'll be looking back at the weekend. We'll be looking back at the Manchester derby where Man City turned around a 1-0 deficit. They won 3-1 in a Foden-inspired performance. We'll be looking at Nunez's late goal, but controversial goal. Well, when I talk about the controversy, like he usually does when it goes against Liverpool, we'll also be looking back at Arsenal last night, hitting 6 goals at Bramble Lane. They're in a bad way. Yeah, you did predict it, to be fair. And we'll look back at the rest of the weekend's results and look ahead to the midweek action, where Bayern Munich take on Lazio tonight. Can they overturn a 1-0 deficit, and can they keep Harry Kane's trophy dreams alive this season? So, plenty to discuss. And we will touch on the Liverpool Man City game at the end. But I mean, let's look back at the weekend. I mean, some big stories. I think the game that was leading into the weekend was the Manchester derby, but there was already news on Saturday. Obviously, there's a lot of controversy around Nunez's goal, and then Arsenal last night. Everyone expecting they beat Sheffield, but they go and had 6. I know you predicted 6, but again, 5 up after 30 odd minutes, which is pretty impressive. So, I mean, let's start at the Etihad where Man City were 1-0 down at half time. And Man City come back, they won 3-1 in quite impressive fashion in that second half. I mean, what did you make of the game?
I mean, I thought Man City were excellent. United did have a few counterattacks, and obviously Rashford's goal was just no keeper saving that. But even with my heart thinking that United could get a result, I always thought even with them going 1-0 up,
you were supporting Man United?
I wouldn't say supporting, more hoping.
Shameless. Shameless.
How you do the same, I would think. But no, I didn't expect them to hold out. I thought Man City would come on strong in the second half. And to be fair, it should have been 1-1 at halftime. But Haaland, I don't know.
Nunez was playing for Man City for them on that first half.
Well, he will be this weekend. No. But Man City's quality shone through in the second half, and especially Phil Foden. I thought he ran the show like he's a special footballer.
Pep said he's been Man City's best player this season. I mean, a lot of talk about what a world-class player is, what a world-class player isn't. Is Foden there yet, or do you still think he's got a butt to do to establish himself on that bracket?
If he keeps playing the way he is this season, I think for me, I don't know if you all agree, Arsenal fans won't, but I think he's levels above Saka.
Different players, aren't they? Saka's got more. Well, I know Foden's quick, but Saka's got that like pisty beat players. Foden kind of beats him with trickery.
Yeah.
Foden's probably got more of a brain. And up until this season, you would say Saka's been better in front of goal, but obviously Foden's got great numbers this year. I mean, it's an interesting one because we don't know what's Foden's best position. He's played off the right, off the left, through the middle. As a number 10, where does he play in the England team? Saka off the right. Where does Foden play off the left? Does he play in midfield? We've got Bellingham in there, and we know Southgate does like they play with 2 holding midfielders. So I mean, it's a potential headache for Southgate. I mean, all the signs point to with this England group at the minute. He's got the players, in my opinion, to beat anybody. So is there a need to be defensive? I know he's no confidence in his back four, but if you've got a midfield of say. Declan Rice, Bellingham, and Foden, and then you get Saka, Harry Kane. The left side's probably the issue at the moment. There's no outstanding candidate for that role, is there?
No, because Rashford isn't great. Grealish
isn't great. The other option is you play Maddison in the middle and play Foden off the left. But at the end, you get the best out of Foden on the left. Can Maddison play off the left? I'm not so sure. But then again, there's also the thing: does he bring in a Calvin Phillips? Does he bring in a Jordan Henderson? Does he bring in a Conor Gallagher? They make him a lot more solid. I mean, it's a tricky one.
Get Curtis Jones on there.
Jones is an hour player as well. I think that could be up for consideration. But the argument that a lot of England fans would have is Jordan Henderson, Calvin Phillips, Conor Gallagher or Curtis Jones any better than the attacking players we named?
Um,
And that's the thing. The England
like
fans want to see England go for it, don't they? So
it's like as you said there, England have the players. They just don't, in my opinion, they don't have the coaching staff. So it'll be obviously I'll be hoping they don't win because my TV will be getting turned off or
I
no.
think this is their best opportunity they've ever had. I think they go into this as favourites, even over France at the moment. I really do. I think it's between one of them two. They're the only two you would say are favourites. I mean, anyone else won that wouldn't be wouldn't be a favourite. You wouldn't have thought, but we know anybody can win these tournaments. But England, for me, at the minute, have the edge over France. I think just in terms of how players are playing. Mbappe, there's a lot of, what's going to happen with him. Has head might be in the right place with transfer business and stuff. And I'm not so sure if even France are as good as England, player for player. I think they can be better in the defence, but I don't think midfield going forward are better.
No, I was just going to come on that. I think France have a better defense. Obviously, they have Saliba, and then they have the best centre back in the world, Ibu Konate. But no, they have better defense. But I think England have a better midfield and attack is. I think when Mbappe in there, it always gives you an edge. But overall, I think England are better.
Callum saying you need players like Jones and Gallagher to balance it. But if you've got arguably one of the best defensive midfielders in the world in Rice, do you really need that? I mean, you'd expect England really up until the semi-finals or final to be strong favourites in every game, have more of the ball. So why would they need two holding midfielders? I think that's the, can they not go with a Foden and a Madison or a Bellingham and a Madison or a Foden and a Bellingham in there, and maybe have and rotate them around?
I don't think Southgate will do that. I think he'll stick with his tried and trusted.
Unfortunately, I do think Conor Gallagher's the man. I don't think Jones hasn't had a lot of game time. Gallagher has. I think it could. I think his favoured midfield at the minute will possibly be Bellingham, Gallagher, and Rice.
I could see that, but
and I think he'll play Foden and Saka out wide and Kane up top.
I do think Jones deserves a shout though. I think he's been excellent when he has played this season.
Yeah, interesting. But let's come back to there'll be plenty of talk. I mean, Owen, just I know we're really talk about this, but now we're on the subject. I do believe you're going to be running a channel for the Euros.
I'll be doing a lot of Euro stuff on my own channel, so stay tuned for that. If I'm going to win the Euros, I'll be shutting down my channel.
There you go. So you'll probably see me feature on our own channel over the summer. We'll be pretty much inactive. We'll probably do a little bit in between pre-season and stuff. Probably the fixtures coming out, maybe about every other week. But plan to scale back over the summer to get back for the new season. So Owen could be your man. They keep an eye on for the Euros. So let's come back to the Manchester derby. I mean, as good as Man City were in that second half, it didn't read well for Man United because, I mean, they were totally outplayed. I mean, they didn't get near Man City after about 25, 30 minutes into the game. I think they had one shot on target in the whole game. And that was Rashford's screamer. So
I think they only had 3 shots in the entire game. And I think Man City had, was it 25, 26, something around that number. I just think Man City were excellent. Like, and I mean, playing a team like Man City, even if you go 1-0 up, you can't sit back. Like, you have to go. I know United don't have the quality, but you have to go from it because they'll just kill you.
I mean, do they not have the quality? Because you look at players like Varane, played at Real Madrid, Casemiro played at Real Madrid, Bruno Fernandes, everyone rate. Oh, he's Man United fans tell me he's as good as anybody. He's better than Madison. He's better than such and such. They tell me he's a great player. So there's another player, Rashford. We know he's done it before in the past. McTominay's been doing quite well this season for Scotland as well as Man United. Maybe not technically, but scoring goals. It's not an awful Man United team when you look at it. I mean, I think they've had worse teams in recent seasons. I think they've got much better in terms of the players they have.
I think a lot of it too comes down to the mental. Like they don't have it mentally wise. I think that's the difference as well. Like once Man United get pegged back, they down tools. We've seen it already. I don't know if you've seen it, but there's been leaks in the dressing room again the day or after the game anyway, saying, "Oh, we don't like this about Ten Hag. We don't like that about him." And apparently has 3 games now to save his job. So that would be what Everton.
What's M3?
Probably. Well, I'm assuming
the FA Cup will be one, I'd imagine.
Everton's the next game, and then Liverpool, and I don't know who they have after that, but I know they have Everton, Liverpool in the next two. So I don't know.
Do you
I
mean as
think
in for his, do you mean from they be managing next season? They're not going to make a change, this literally.
no, I wouldn't say so, but that's the reports anyway. Is three games to save his job for next season.
Well, I think Gary Neville alluded to that, didn't he? He says that the Jim
Needs to remind
Radcliffe
me
and
of
anyone else will be looking at the Man City game and the two Liverpool games, and not just so much in terms of the results, but the performances.
the performances.
And I mean that didn't fill you much confidence going into them Liverpool games that they were so badly outplayed. And as you say, like we named some players, Garnacho's an our player. He's got quality, but it doesn't seem to be that lack of belief in what they're doing. And at the minute, they're a million miles off Man City.
I thought even Rashford he scored a screamer, but after that he didn't do nothing. I know Ten Hag said he was injured, but I don't know if that was just protecting him. But to me, it was just a lack of effort again.
I mean,
not just from him, from everyone. I think
before the game we all kind of expect. Sorry, go ahead.
I actually thought, surprisingly, I thought Varane was okay. Like, I thought the defense was all right. Surprisingly.
They had to make a couple of changes, didn't they? Because Evans was out in his feet. And they are missing some key players as well. They'd be fair, that would make a difference. But I think overall this season's just not been good enough. I mean, we all kind of knew that United were going to go there and be defensive. But this was the interesting discussion that we had around Christmas time, just before Christmas, when Spurs was going through that really tricky spell with players, most of their first team missing. Like they were from the team that started Chelsea, the team that played Man City 4 weeks later. I think about 4 players were the same. The rest was all second string. And Spurs went to Man City. Spurs went to Man City and says, you know what, we're not going to change. We're going to go at you. And they got a draw. Now, they could have lost that game on an already. You know, in the end, they could have won. They were pushing towards the end. But in the first half, they could have been 4-5-1 down. There's no arguing that. But I think Ian said even if that was to happen, they felt that was the right way to go because it gives players the impression that, you know, it's all about us, not about anyone else. And that Ten Hag going there with that defensive setup like he did at Anfield, you know, I know they got a draw, but it was again, they only had about one shot in the game. It doesn't give the players much belief that, you know, this is Man United, we're going to get better. If you're managing Man United, surely it's got to be about what you can do, not what ours do. And I just don't. It's very weak-minded, I think, from the manager at the moment.
It is, but like he probably knows himself that he doesn't have the quality. Like he probably doesn't believe in the players because they've shown very little quality this season. But in the bits that they have won some games where he thought, right, they're starting to kick on here now. But I think the Fulham defeat was a real eye opener because
let's go through it player by player. Now try and not go off form, but by stature. You can't tell me that Spurs' squad is miles and miles clear of Man United squad in terms of ability. I look at the senior players like Varane, Casemiro, Fernandes, Garnacho's been playing brilliant this season. Højlund's been doing recently. They've been doing quite well. Dalot, I think's had a half decent season. Shaw when he's fit. Martinez. There's some big names in that squad. So I mean, whatever way Ten Hag's went about it, I think it's been the wrong way. I think the players don't really see a future under him, and I think that's the reason the performances are so poor.
I think he makes a rod for his own back too because he comes out after games and saying, I think he said after the game, we could have won. I was like, are you watching the same game? Like, I don't know if he's just saying this to try and get the players on his side, but I just think it'll be best for everyone in the summer just to part ways.
Them next 3 games, no, they will just do the next 2 actually because there's not the national. Right. So the Everton game, do you think they'll win that?
Who's home?
United.
I think they'll win it just.
And do you think they'll beat Liverpool in the FA Cup?
No, not a chance.
And do you see that then as their season's pretty much over, or do you think they still have a lot to play for the Premier League?
No, they're not getting into the Champions. Well, I don't know how it works now with the new rules.
Well, they're 11 points behind Villa at the minute with a much worse goal, so that's near enough 12. I don't really see them getting 4th, so they're going to rely on Spurs maybe slipping and them getting that 5th spot. But at the minute, Spurs are 6 points clear. with a better goal
The game
difference
in hand.
again. So that's 7, plus they've got a game in hand. Now, it's away to
Yeah.
Chelsea, no guarantee they'll win that. But even if they didn't, they'd still have a 7-point advantage.
It's not even you don't trust United to go on a run.
No.
Have a result in them that you think.
For Liverpool last year, I think possibly the COVID year as well, Liverpool did this, where they went on this amazing run and they stinked into the top 4, and then last season they just missed out. Normally the teams that are up there are the teams that are there at the end. The teams that rarely you see a team that's been poor all season really just come out of the pack and won 9 or 10 in a row. Liverpool did that last year, to be fair to them, but it's very rare. Plus, we also knew Liverpool had that quality in them. There was previous Liverpool having that by, but there was always that. It was still the same team that were very close to winning the league the year before. Whereas this Man United team don't have that pedigree at the moment, so I just don't see it. I mean, I think at the minute they need Spurs and Villa to really fall apart for them to get involved. I think so.
I agree. I think the Champions League spots now, as they are, will be the way they are at the end of the season. Just either be Spurs or Villa finishes 4th. I think
that comes down to Sunday too. We'll talk about it at the end. I think Spurs have to go there and win, really, or definitely not lose. I think if Villa won that's going to be hard, but we'll see.
It's a very interesting Super Sunday this week, I'll tell you.
Well, we will finish off tonight by talking about it because it's very exciting. Before we move on to Liverpool, Man City's next 3 games. I mean, we seen the Sky graphic last night of all the teams' games. I mean, they're playing the 3 best teams in the league in the table. Bar themselves, they're playing the other 3 in the top 4 next all in a row. So Liverpool away, Arsenal at home, and Villa at home. After that run of games, they only have Spurs away. Now, they haven't had the best record there, but the rest of the games are all very much against bottom half teams. So, I mean,
so you would,
if Man City were to win all 3 of these games, do you sense that's it?
Probably. I think if they beat us on Sunday, they're 2 points ahead of us. So even though it's only 2 points, like you wouldn't expect them to drop much more after the Arsenal and Villa game. So I would say that's a wrap. But we can't write off Arsenal either in the way they're playing at the minute. So it'll be interesting to see how it comes. Obviously, I'm hoping we go there, or they come to us on Sunday and we give them a good showing day. But we'll see.
I actually think if Man City got offered 7 points now, they would take them 7. I don't really think they would care particularly which way they got the 7 points. I just think if they were to get 7 out of 9 there from that return, even if they beat Liverpool and drew Arsenal, or drew Liverpool and beat I don't really at the moment between them 3 teams, I don't really see much difference on them. I think that's very level. So I think getting 4 points out of Liverpool and Arsenal is equally as good either way you get it. I think even though if they were to beat Liverpool and draw with Arsenal, I don't think that's a point and draw. Very much similar. I think the problem you would have is if they drew Liverpool, I think they would probably have to beat Arsenal. I don't think 2 draws would be great, but Villa at home expecting to beat, so it'll be quite interesting. I think them first 2 are the big ones, but I mean, exciting few games ahead of them.
Exciting, nerve-wracking. I think when Sunday comes, I'll be sitting watching the Villa Spurs game, just relaxing ahead of it, and then see as soon as
a great way to start. But I mean, that's as good as a game as you'll get as a warm-up. I mean, 2 teams that'll go at it. You know what, for sure.
As soon as about 3:30 then on Sunday, I'll be like, right, the nerves are kicking in now.
Let's talk about Liverpool because I mean, it's not to say that controversy doesn't follow them, but this time they were probably on the right end of one. And I mean, this is I wouldn't say it's the exact same because it isn't but it's a factual error. So this can't be argued by anyone else other than this was a factual. Yeah. It's not a penalty where it's a subjective one. Even if it's a clear penalty, it's still a subjective decision. This was a break of the law by the referee. He got confused. I don't think he'd done it intentionally. And Liverpool fans berate Paul Tierney, I think, over recent games. He's been very friendly to them. And this just shows you, I think, that the referees are... I don't think there's any referee that's out to be biased. I just think it's pressure. Everyone can make mistakes. And this was a bad error. Now, I think it was way over the top, the criticism from Forest. There was a lot of opportunities for Forest to deal with this. There's nearly 2 minutes passes between Kelleher getting the ball and the ball going in the back of the net. And I mean, let's be honest, there was a chance in the edge of the box. They try to dribble it out. If he just puts his foot through that, the whistle probably goes.
Yeah.
I mean, what did you make of it all?
To be honest, I didn't even notice it until after the game. I just thought because when you're watching a game, you don't really notice the intricacies. But he actually, funny enough, he actually did the same thing in the first half where I didn't notice this either until after the game where we should have had the ball and give it to them. So he didn't have a great day. As you say, like they had plenty of chances. They had plenty of chances. They cleared at the time. They were time wasting the whole game. So in my opinion, they got what they deserved. But it is one of them. But I think Mike Dean said on Sky Sports it was a monumental error. I was like, no, it wasn't. Calm down.
I
Like
think that was
we've seen
actually.
worse
I
this
think that was
season.
sensationalized. That it was
Yeah,
such a basic error that he made. It wasn't as bad as the offside thing back in September, but it was just a referee, professional referee, shouldn't make that mistake. Never know make it twice in one game. That tells you that he's not quite concentrating on what he's doing. Like, but
he actually
um,
didn't get. See, I don't get this. He's got taken off the game, the referee, but he's still allowed to be VAR. Like that,
yeah,
if
they
you're
must
going
be
to take him
short.
off,
Otherwise, it's usually you're taking off completely, isn't it? So
but I didn't like the whole thing about the Forest when they're coming on the pitch. That was a bit too far. Like that's, in my opinion, that's intimidating the referee, and it's a it's weird to
you
me
can't
that
have it both
Forest
ways, but
have.
you can't have it both ways. Like, I mean, like, yeah, I get your point, but Liverpool wanted to take a Premier League to court nearly when the offside thing happened. That was just a mistake as well, a bad one, but mistakes is part of football. And I did say
Like
at the time, things over 38 games tend to find a way to balance themselves out. And I mean,
it,
this is the one
it
for me. I
was
mean, Liverpool. This is a huge, huge one. If Liverpool don't get that one, I mean, who knows what would have happened? But I mean, there's no guarantee. We such time running out. They may not have got that goal without that decision going their way because it's so late in the game. But you make your own luck sometimes, and I mean, that's the thing that's being through at Liverpool at the minute is that they're getting away with it. They've been very fortunate in recent games, mainly this one. You look at Liverpool, what Arsenal are doing. Arsenal seem to be blowing teams out of the water. Liverpool at the minute don't. They seem to be finding ways to win. Obviously, there's a lot of injuries there, but I mean, how do you see it? I mean, have Liverpool been lucky to won the games they've won in the last few weeks, or do you just think they've character, determination, fight, desires got them over the line?
probably a bit of both. Like I think against Chelsea in the end we deserved it. You can't say that was lucky. The Forest one was lucky in the circumstances, but
Chelsea had some serious chances, but Liverpool are
then
probably the better team in extra time. But Chelsea
and
must have
then
great chances.
and then the Luton game. I can't say. I don't think we were lucky there. I just
Uh,
think our quality shone through. So
the
I
Brentford game
think
was a funny game. That was probably the most. What was one of the best 4-1s I've ever. It wasn't like Brentford were totally battered. I mean, Liverpool were
yeah,
ruthless. Brentford had their chances. The Southampton game was pretty even in chances, but Liverpool finished them. Hey, is that luck? Is that just being better than the opposition? I think you have to make your own mind up. The one on
it's
the one on Saturday, Forest missed some great chances. I mean, it's the goalkeeper's been excellent too, but it's has it luck or has he just been excellent in goal making these
we've
saves?
actually.
I think there's been some poor finishing, but the goalkeeper's been excellent.
I sent it to you earlier. There was a wee scare that he's injured, and see if he has him that Adrian playing in goal. Ooh, that'd be scary. But no, we do give up a lot of chances, which does scare me coming into the weekend because if we give up some of them chances, Man City will punish us. But in the opposite side of that,
Well,
Man City give up a lot of chances.
this is it. I mean, I know Man United only had that one shot, but they had about three great opportunities. Rashford missed control of one, and there was another one too in the game. All in the first 30 minutes. A more clinical Rashford at his best. It could have been 2 or 3, and that's a different kind of game then. But Man City were wide open in them first 30 minutes. Liverpool at the minute are wide open. Forest and Brentford had numerous chances. Southampton had chances. So that is the worry. I mean, it's looking like it could be a high scoring game on Sunday, which will make it all more entertaining for the neutral. But I mean, we spoke about this last night, and we see this slightly differently. I think this is a must-win game for Liverpool on Sunday. I don't think Liverpool won the league unless they won on Sunday. You see it slightly different. You think a draw is not a bad. You think a draw is a good result. I think a draw is not a terrible result. But I
It
think in
all
hands, even though they would still be top of the league, well, they wouldn't even be because a draw would mean Arsenal would be top of the league on goal difference. So
uh, it all
even though
depends
they
on
would
what
still be level with
happens.
Arsenal, I still think they would. They've surrendered their advantage, and I think Gary Neville made a great point. If you're going to beat the champions, you have to beat them. Two draws sometimes doesn't do. You have to strike that fear in them that you're better than them.
Yeah.
And I just think that this is a must-win game because I do think Liverpool are more likely than Man City. Looking at the final 10 games, they drop points. So I think if they were to draw this, it really leaves them no room for error. I think a Man City, if they beat Man City, it'll give them massive belief. Plus, it also gives them an opportunity somewhere along the line to maybe draw a game or lose a game. So it's massive. One. How do you see it?
Obviously, I do think it'll be a draw. I generally do, but obviously I hope we win. But you are probably right. If we're going to win the league, we do need to win it. But I just think I know Arsenal are firing all cylinders at the minute, and Man City seem to be finding ways to win because they're not at their best at the minute, and we're not. But I do. I just think it all comes down. If we draw on Sunday, I think depend on what happens at Arsenal Man City will determine if a draw is a good result, in my opinion.
Looking at the run, Liverpool definitely have the hardest games. Now Ireland maybe the Man City. Once Man City get through this spell, I mean after that Villa game, and you'd even throw Villa in there. I don't see Villa going to Man City and winning. I really don't. They're drawing. I think Man City will be too good at home for them. So once Man City get through this spell where they play Liverpool and Arsenal, I just don't see them dropping many. I think Arsenal, if you were to draw this weekend and Arsenal were to go and beat Man City, the week after, all of a sudden that advantage he has gone as well. So you've to factor on Arsenal, and if you look at Arsenal's running, other than the Spurs away game, I don't see where. Obviously, you have to factor on they've never been there before and they could get nervous. But the way they're playing at the moment, I don't really see where they're going to drop loads and loads of points. So
Yeah,
it's a really difficult one.
I never like for the neutral. It's exciting having three teams fighting it out every week. Obviously, for you, it's I see that that's sort of where I come on as
Well,
well.
I have to say I'm not neutral. I don't want Arsenal on, so
I was going to say yeah, but no, it's look if we lose on Sunday, I think I wouldn't say that's it, but I would say it'll be very difficult. I think we have to avoid defeat to have any chance of winning. But I would, I saw a thing today. I would just love like a Joe Gomez 90th minute winner.
Any
but
sort of.
no, like if we win on Sunday, I'm saying we're winning the league. Like that's the way I see it.
Thank you. I mean, anyway, these two games could go either way. Man City could win both, lose both, draw both. I don't. And the reason I'm saying them is because they're the team that's playing both teams.
As I said to you last night, I think the reason I'm favouring us, not in this game, but the reason I think we have more of a chance of winning than Arsenal do is because we're at home.
And Liverpool play. Who Liverpool play? No, don't play the following week, do they? They play Brighton, don't they? When the week Man City are playing Arsenal. There's no
We
FA
play
Cup
United.
so
we play United. So
if
couple of big
both
games
games ended in draws, that would mean Liverpool would they be 3 points ahead of Man City then?
If they both ended in draws,
and Liverpool were to beat Brighton on the same day, they'd be 3 ahead, wouldn't
they? Aye.
And if both games ended in draws, if Arsenal were to beat Brentford and draw away Man City, then they would still be 2 ahead. So maybe 2 draws wouldn't be the worst. I mean, I think if Liverpool were to beat, or if Liverpool draw away Man City, they'll probably want the other game to be a draw. That's the only thing.
I wanted to be a draw regardless. I just
let's talk about the other team, Arsenal, involved here. I mean, no one expected anything other than a comfortable Arsenal one. I didn't really expect them to be 5 up before I think it was 39 minutes. And Sheffield were brutalised. I mean, in a funny way. I mean, we spoke on the podcast before Christmas. Arsenal couldn't have a barn door. and now they've scored the most goals by any team in the league and conceded the least. So
I
mean,
saw a thing
they
last
have.
night. It was their goal difference or something. It was compared to Chelsea and United. I think theirs is +1 and Arsenal's is like +43 or something.
I
It's
think
mental.
that leaves them 6 ahead of Liverpool and 10 ahead of Man City. Now, that sounds like a big gap, but with the teams that are winning all the time, it's not. I mean, Liverpool could put 5 or 6 past Sheffield. Man City still have to play Sheffield, so that could be evened out. But I think Arsenal were quite far behind, so they've got themselves back into that goal difference.
I don't think
If it
it'll,
was
I
the
don't think
goal difference,
it'll
they'd be there.
I don't think it'll come down to the goal difference. I think
You wouldn't know.
someone.
You wouldn't.
I
You
think
would not know.
no,
But I
you
mean,
don't. But
Arsenal have definitely had a purple patch. I think Gallagher was right last night. Out of the 3 teams, Arsenal are the strongest at the moment. That might not be the case in 3 or 4 weeks' time, but at the moment, they're absolutely destroying teams going forward, and they're conceding next to nothing at the back. I mean, is that a big worry at the minute that you look at the chances Liverpool's given up and Man City are giving up that eventually they could get a punch, whereas at the minute Arsenal are doing very little wrong.
The stats don't lie. Like they're not conceding many chances. They're scoring bucket loads, and as you say, Liverpool and Man City are giving up chance after chance. It seems, but again, I don't really, as I say, I don't really worry about the goal difference yet. But I think it all for me. I said it. It all comes down to these next 2 games. I think that's what decides it for me. I don't think goal difference comes into it, but it just shows how the narrative can change. Because a few weeks ago, as you say, we were saying Arsenal can't hit a barn door. They needed a striker, and now you see their fans. We don't need a striker. So football is a funny way of changing things.
I mean, if you never watched football in your life and you were looking at this now, you'd be saying Arsenal are the most likely to win it, wouldn't you? Based on data, but we know football's not played on data. I mean, last night I seen the Opta predictor. I think I had Man City were at 50 odd and Liverpool were 35, and Arsenal were like 14%. For me, and I have to be honest, I don't really see it that way. I see it as very, very even between the 3 teams.
So
I mean,
what would your percentage be then for the 3 teams?
It could change after these next 2 games. At the moment, I would nearly put the 3 on the same because there's 2 games
50,
against each other.
50.
No, 33, and we can't really divide it by 100, but kind of like I kind of really see it as it's in everyone's hands, really. But all 3 teams have their own destiny in their own hands here with these 2 games now over the next 2 weeks.
And that's a rarity as well.
That is a rarity. But the Opta predictor only give Arsenal a 14% chance. I mean, they think it's a dangerous tactic by many of the media that they seem to be narrow-minded on it's either Man City or Liverpool, and Arsenal are just ticking along and they're rhyming off one after one after one, and they're not just one, they're blitzing teams. I mean, all the pressure seems to be on Liverpool and Man City at the moment.
To be fair, a couple of weeks ago, I was saying, obviously I've changed my mind now because of the way Arsenal are playing, but a couple of weeks ago, I was saying it was between Liverpool and City, but you can't write off Arsenal now with the way they're playing. And I think the media are just sort of basing it off last season. They're expecting Arsenal, they collapse like they did last season, but I don't think they will.
They seem to be getting stronger. That's the thing. Come on.
I think if
I have got the jitters. I can't lie. I've got the real jitters about Arsenal at the moment.
If they were to lose a key player like Rice, or I know that's hypothetical, but if they were to lose a big player like Rice or even Saka, I think
last night, but they're getting players back. Party come back on last night. Tommy Asu's coming back on. Jesus come back. So they've got players coming back. Never mind getting injured.
Party will be injured again. He's their Thiago, but no, it's as you say, it's hard to call the minute between the 3 teams, but I think we'll know a lot more come Sunday afternoon.
What Arsenal? We expect them to win on Saturday at home to Brentford. I mean, they will be top of the league even for a short period. I mean, what way do you think they'll look at that game on Sunday? Will they look at it as we want Man City beat? Because it means then if we go and beat them, Man City, to be honest, are going to find it difficult to come back from 2 defeats to their rivals. Or will they look at it and think, do you know what, just a wee draw, take points off both teams? I mean, James thinks they'll want a draw. I'm not so sure. I think they would
I
prefer Liverpool to win this game.
I was going to say, I think because as you said to me, the Arsenal fans are writing us off. They're saying, "Oh,
Mm.
Liverpool collapse, Man City will just." I was like, "Hey, hang on a minute, you haven't won a league in 20 odd years, Cam, you down." But no, I think if I was an Arsenal fan, I would want Liverpool to win, because they see Man City as the bigger threat, obviously, and I see them as the bigger threat, even though Arsenal beat us. But
Who do you
I
think
think
Man City see as the bigger threat between the two?
that's a tough question. I don't know. I would say it's equal. I would say they think it's equal because Arsenal are flying and Liverpool are flying. So I just think Man City are. To be honest, I don't think Man City see anyone as a threat. I just think they
Mm.
they believe they'll beat anyone. And
I will back themselves. They won them 2 games, don't they?
yeah,
But let's look back at the rest of the weekend's action. I was at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Saturday. I tell you what, it's been a funny. Some of the games I've been at this year have been quite similar in a way. Like, it was another game. I think that's the third game this season I've seen us go 1-0 down. And we've been 1-0 down at no, this time we weren't 1-0 down at halftime, we were 1-0 down for 60 minutes. So
it's like free
we
kick.
were entering the final, the second half of the final period of the game behind, and we came around and won it late again.
Werner
Seems
scored.
to be like a trademark. It seems to be a trademark sort of Spurs thing at home this season, where they concede first and then they run a team down in the second half, which fans are loving it. The atmosphere was brilliant. And once they got that first goal, you always kind of felt they were going to get the second and then a third. And I mean, Spurs just keep ticking along. It's not perfect, but they're entertaining and they're scoring goals.
I like that. That's what you want from the years of like Conte last season and Mourinho before that. Like that was, I'm not a Spurs fan, obviously, and I was bored watching Spurs. So,
Mm.
but it's and when you watch Spurs now, like I'm looking forward to this Villa game at the weekend because I think it's going to be bagfuls of goals. Like I think
Yeah.
both teams will attack each other, and both teams seem to struggle to defend. So, but no, if obviously for Spurs, it's all about consolidating that fourth spot just to guarantee the Champions League for next season. So I think for Spurs it's about Champions League, and if they beat Villa on Sunday, then I would say they're good. They're good as
Mm.
there. Like.
I think that wee break for them was they lost that game to Wolves, didn't they? And that was probably the only home game this season where they didn't have anything in that second half. They were running on empty, running out of ideas. I think players were looking leggy. Seemed to
Yeah.
have refreshed a wee bit. They looked very strong on Saturday. It was I think, the most home percentage they've ever had in a home game, nearly 80% of the ball for a whole 90 minutes. Now Palace weren't overly great, and it's nothing to be getting excited about. But I think Madison, it's the best game I've seen him have since he's come back from injury. Son looked back to his best. He looked ruthless in front of goal. He was very linking up well, and I have to say, not his biggest fan, but Timo Werner was very good. I know he missed one, but his overall play was quite good. He got his first goal, and I think whilst Brennan Johnson's not the answer at the moment, I think he's a very good impact sub, and he's made more of an impact coming off the bench than he has starting games. And again, this was an hour game. He's come on where Spurs have been losing, and he's turned it around either by assisting or scoring. He set up 2 goals. So I think there's a lot of them Spurs players you think they've got more on them. They could get better on the ranch.
I think you are a young team as well, so you will get better, and obviously you will spend in the summer. I would assume. I don't know the ins and outs of Spurs. You know better than me, but I would expect Spurs to go strong in the summer for a top number 9. I think
Well, that's
that's
it.
what they.
I think we need somebody in that midfield too that can really take us up a gear. Not so much in tech. I think just somebody that can break up play and won the ball back quicker. I think that's a must. Like, and who that player is, I don't know. But hey, do you know what? Again, it's an hour game I was at, and I have to say, this man just keeps surprising me. I think Liverpool must out on a real good one in Mickey Van de Ven. The pace, the power, the intelligence, the passing. This boy, I think, is going to be up there with the best we've seen. And that's not me saying as a Spurs fan. A few our fans have spoke to saying that this boy, I mean, he's just an absolute, the turn of piss is frightening.
Guys, I've watched Spurs a lot this season, and every time I watch them, I think why don't we go on from like? But I think you have to, in my opinion, like without his injury, he would have been up there with one of one of the best players this season. But I think in terms of defenders this season, I have to say like Saliba, and as much as I love Van Dijk, I think Kanate has been top
Mm.
class.
I think Van de Ven will just miss out with an injury. I think he would have been knocking on the door, but them two probably.
But if
It's
he
not
can
just the
keep
pace,
them,
some of his slight tackle when he's getting back's perfect too every time. He never gives away a foul. It's mad. But
it
look,
makes a difference. It makes a difference when you have someone in the back line who is quick to get back. Like he's had years of Eric Dyer and Ben Davis
mm.
and
But the thing is, though, I'm still worried about how much he's having to do it, and I think that's why we need that number 6, because if he keeps having to do that 4 or 5 times a game, we've seen already what can happen with a hamstring. So
the number 6 position is I can't really pinpoint a player at the minute like who
looks
who's
like
out
they're
there
going to
that
go
you can
after
back.
Conor Gallagher. Now, I don't think he's your overall 6, but he comes on there and he runs around.
If I was Spurs, I don't know if you agree. If I was Spurs, I would go out for Polina. Like I would.
I think just his age, Spurs will stay away.
No.
I think if that was going to happen, it would have happened by now. But look, we'll
Hey,
see.
sure. We'll
It's
see.
a story for the summer. It's a story for the summer for definite. Some of the 3 o'clock games. Quite an entertaining Saturday actually. A lot of goals. Newcastle. I mean, a lot of people were tipping Wolves going into this. I says nope. Newcastle will get back. They won in ways at home, and that's exactly what they did. And Wolves are a funny team. On their day, can beat anyone. On another day, they're poor and they get blew away. And this is what happened. Wolves didn't turn up. And you'd probably back them next week. They put that right, but I think they've had a great season, Wolves. But this just shows you it's very hard. That's what separates the top teams from the decent teams is consistency.
I like you seen it a few years ago. Wolves were a team challenging for Europe, and they've come under financial trouble. So they've come under financial trouble, which means they've struggled. They keep their best players, and it catches up to you in the end. Like who have they lost over the years? Obviously, Jota and Neves. They're probably going to lose Neto in the summer.
Neto could go, yeah.
And
that'll be a big rebuilding job. But I mean, the job he's doing is brilliant. Newcastle back to one ways at home. Decline. I think the Champions League. I think that's gone. I think it's trying to get into the Europa League. I mean, do you think they'll be looking at Man United in that 6th spot and thinking we can catch them?
If they can find consistent form, they definitely will, because United too, they have a couple of tricky fixtures coming up. So Newcastle, if they can keep ticking along, getting results, and just hope that our teams slip up, because I think if Newcastle were to get Europa League from now, I think that'll be a good season considering the amount of injuries they've had and the lack of form.
Yeah. Unfortunately for them, I think that FA Cup draws bet their chances of winning that. I mean, Stankers are all getting Man City away. I mean, that was their one. They were hoping to get a Wolves or a Coventry or a Leicester, I think, and then get the Wembley again. And it doesn't look. I think Man City away is as hard as it gets, really. I don't really see them getting past there.
Speaking of Leicester, they've started to stumble a wee bit in the Championship.
Huge game tonight for Leicester, just kicked off away to Sunderland. They've lost 3 in a row, so they need to try and get back on track. I think that'll be interesting. West Ham left it lit. They won at Everton, 1-0 down. Everton again, another home game where they really missed chances. They missed a penalty in the first half. At the end, West Ham come back. They won 3-1. They got them points back, but Everton are on a really, really slippery slope. They can't win a game of football. They haven't won now since the middle of December. It's now March. Next week's the middle of March. I mean, they don't play again now until so they actually play United away on Saturday, and then they don't play because Liverpool's involved the week after in the FA Cup, so they don't play against Easter. I mean, very dangerous to be going that long without winning a game. They need to get a win somewhere. I mean, they might look at Old Trafford as an opportunity because United's not in great form, and they've seen Fulham going one there, so they might think this is a bit of a free hit in a way, and the pressure's off. I don't know.
No, I can't. As much as United are bad, I just think Everton are worse. As you say, they haven't won a game now since before Christmas, is it, or after Christmas?
It's they beat Burnley away on the 15th of December. Oh, sorry, 16th of December.
So they haven't won a game since before Christmas or after Christmas. So I just think Everton, they create chances. Like if you watch them, they create a bag load of chances, but they just don't have that proven goal scorer to get them goals. And West Ham sort of had them on the break. And I saw Souček's goal. I thought that was an excellent finish. And
Screamer, wasn't it?
No,
I think
um,
Paqueta coming back's really made West Ham so much better again, and all of a sudden that talk about Moyes has died down, 2-1s back to back, and they're in a strong position again. West Ham are another team that'll think they can get
West
sixth in that a sixth spot for definitely.
West Ham are a weird team. Like they've won two in a row, and then they'll lose next week or something. Then Moyes will be getting slaughtered again. I don't see the problem with Moyes at West Ham, like because they're not going to get any. They're not going to get near the Champions League spots. Like
Probably the most entertaining game at 3 o'clock was Chelsea and Brentford. Obviously Brentford being at home, and Brentford were going. They might get a think they were looking for their fifth one in a row against Chelsea. Unfortunately, the Zazi at the end prevented
last
that,
minute.
and it was a 2-2 draw. Quite an entertaining game. It's a game where both teams missed chances. We've seen a great goal from Vasa. But again, Brentford are very similar. Can't seem to win too many games. A lot of losses on there. They're another team that's flirting with relegation. And Chelsea, I mean, I don't know what are Chelsea playing for in the league between now and the end of the season, because Europa League looks difficult. Conference League possibly. Do you think Chelsea? It's all about the FA Cup.
I think they have to throw their eggs in the FA Cup basket. Like I seen the people in the stands at the Chelsea game were singing for Abramovich and Mourinho and telling Pochettino to f off. So it's not a happy
It's
place at
sort
the
of like
minute.
desperation. I mean, surely a Chelsea fan in the right mind would not want Mourinho back. I just think they're desperate at the moment.
Oh, I've seen plenty of Chelsea. I've seen the most famous Chelsea fan I know, Rory Jennings. He's been clamoring for him back, and I just think I would go horribly
I
wrong to be
think
honest.
I think the problem you've got now is Pochettino was never a fan favourite going in. It's got worse under Poch. They haven't warmed him. I think he even said this week in his press conference he knows the Chelsea fans aren't behind him. I really do think this is about trying to get the end of the season now. I think it's in both parties' interest. They part ways. I don't really think Pochettino's enjoying it. I don't think the fans want him there. Whether the players do or not, I'm not sure. But I just don't. I just think a change may benefit all parties. But
Who
again,
did Chelsea?
it leaves Chelsea in another predicament where another manager struggled.
Who did Chelsea go and get them? Because I know there's I think I've seen them like with your man from Sporting, Ruben Amorim, but I think Ruben
Well,
Amorim's had
the
one.
thing about the Mourinho thing is that is so far away from what a Mourinho team would look like. He had one experienced pros. He's got a team of young lads there who have no
Yeah.
experience. I mean, I just don't really see that being a fit. I think Mourinho would jump at the chance to come back, but I
Oh, he
just don't
would like.
think I don't think it would suit Chelsea. I think things could get worse.
But how much worse can they get? Like they're sitting 11th and they finished 12th last season. It's mad to think like 3-4 years ago this team won the Champions League.
Yeah, I mean, if they don't beat Leicester, if they go to the cup to Leicester, the season's over before that international break, aren't they? So it's a must-win
So
game.
it's a struggle.
We'll finish off. The 5:30 game was quite an entertaining game. I was watching this in the pub after the game, the Spurs match, and look, 2-0 up. Nobody in the bar was actually paying too much interest. All of a sudden, it was 2-2, and the whole bar was cheering on Luton. Obviously, hoping Villa would drop points before next week. And I have to say it, 2-2, it looked like Luton were going to go on. They won it, missed a couple of chances, and then the end, Villa got a late goal, which was a massive goal. But I mean, Luton are playing with all the spirit in the world. I mean, if they had the quality of maybe an Everton or a Brentford, they probably wouldn't be in a relegation battle because they've probably got the most spirit. And then with Villa at the minute, although they're up there, they are giving teams chances against them. They can, even when they're 2-0 up in games we've seen this season, they can't seem to close it out. They made it difficult. And we've seen in this season, they've been punched on the nose, losing 2-goal leads, but this time they managed to come back. I mean, it's hard to get a read on Villa.
They're really hinging on their first half of the season form at the minute. Because I think if they were playing like this all season, I think they would be 7th, 8th maybe because of the
Yeah.
recent results. But I think the first half of the season's really helped them, and I do think they'll finish 4th or 5th. I can't see them going any lower, and 5th could get you Champions League. So I think for Villa, like if they end up in the Champions League next season, it'll be what a season, and Emery has to be up for Manager of the Year if that happens, in my opinion.
And Luton, I mean, I think everyone would like Luton to stay up because if they're giving everything, I mean, they're probably bridging quality with spirit because I think they're getting Rob Edwards getting the best out of what he has. I mean, Barkley's been excellent, but some of the other players like Morris and stuff, It gives them half a chance of staying up because they seem to always be in games that we see
Yeah,
Sheffield United and Burnley getting battered every week. Luton are always they're rarely beaten badly. They're always usually in a
and it's
game.
a strange one too because Forest are going to be hit with a deduction, I believe.
I think this is all being done during the international break. I think maybe so we might know
So
more for the
we
run.
could we could be coming back after the international break. We Luton out of the relegation zone, or so. It's a
How do you
strange.
see it now in that bottom? We know Burnley. We think Burnley and Sheffield are gone. I mean,
Ugh,
I says Brentford at Christmas. You says Everton. I think.
yeah,
Um, you've got Luton, Forest, Everton,
I
Brentford,
think.
possibly. I mean, or do you see it as between the R three? Do you see Luton, Everton,
No,
and Forest?
I think Luton, Everton, and Forest are the ones that I'm looking at, and I think taking points deductions out of it, just say they don't happen, they will. But as it goes by now, yeah, I fancy Forest to go down.
Hmm. Forest though have been done twice recently. We like against United and Liverpool in the last kick, so they are making a fuss of it too. So it's hard.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
I don't
between
think I'm
Forest
watching.
and
There'll not be much in it.
no, it's between Forest and Luton for the last. I
You think
think
Everton will be okay?
I think now they will. But Burnley and Sheffield United have to be two of the worst Premier League teams I've
I
ever
think he
seen.
says last night this is making a mockery of the Premier League. He's these
And
two.
I was like, oh, but they've been bit 8-0, 5, 6, 7. Like, what?
Nah. It's
I
just
think they
teams
could.
are up out now is like going to Bramble Lane as a goal difference booster.
They're coming to Anfield after the international break. I hope we hit them for 7-8.
Mm. We've got about 5 or 6 minutes left before we go off air for the Champions League games. And we're coming up to an hour, so we'll quickly touch on the midweek games. I mean, Bayern tonight now kick off in 5 minutes time. 1-0 down. They're home tonight. Can they turn that? I mean, how do you see it? Do you think they'll turn that 1-0 deficit around because their season's on the line tonight? 10 points
I think
behind Bayern Leverkusen. I don't see them bridging that gap. I really don't.
no, they won't.
Um, and then
I actually think if they lose
tonight,
tonight, I think
it looks very much like season over, and Kane would end with no trophy. So I mean, how do you see it tonight?
uh I think they'll turn it around. I think they'll win 2-0. I read if they lose tonight, I think Tuchel could be gone. But,
Well, he's going anyway, so I really don't
yeah,
see any point if he was to lose tonight. There's no point keeping him in charge because the
if
season's over.
they if they lose tonight, Kane will be on the phone to end going any chance of
Alone, short-term loan.
No, I fancy them to get through. I
Fancy
don't
him
know
to
if
get free.
you
Europa
agree,
League
but
back. The Europa League last 16 is back on Thursday night.
yeah,
I'm just what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the English team's ties here, and I want you to tell me how you think they're going to get on over the two legs. So kick it
yeah.
off with Prague against Liverpool. How do you see that?
I think we'll get through. It'll be interesting to see what team we'll put out tomorrow, but I think we'll get through overall.
Roma take on Brighton. How do you see that?
This is a tasty tie, I like that. I think Roma will be too much for Brighton.
Freiburg against West Ham. Now, these two played each other actually in the group stage,
They
and
got there.
West Ham topped the group. They beat Freiburg home and away. Do you favour West Ham in that time?
I think West Ham will get through. Yeah.
And moving on the Conference League, Ajax take on Liverpool or Ajax take on Aston Villa. How do you see that?
Well, that's another tricky one, but I would fancy Villa. Jordan Henderson masterclass incoming.
Mm. Let's look ahead to the weekend. We'll finish off chatting about this. Villa, Spurs, and Liverpool, Man City in a box office Super Sunday.
Oh,
I mean that is as good as you're going to get in Sunday. Mother's Day as well. Hey, the Mothers I'll be getting sent somewhere
I might.
because that is as good as it gets.
The funny thing is, my mother was she was older than me yesterday. Oh, we're going to such and such and such for Mother's Day dinner. I was like, you can't. I'm going nowhere.
Too much at stake on Sunday.
Nah,
Right, decision time.
you
How do
want
you see
predictions? Just
these two games going on Sunday?
predictions, just.
Yeah, you can tell a
Uh
wee bit about it. We've got a couple months left, so
right. So I'll start off with Villa Spurs or Spurs. I think it'll be a tight one, but I think Spurs will edge it. I think I'm going to go. I think Spurs just have a bit more quality. I think Spurs have a bit more quality, so I'm going to go 2-1 Spurs. 3-1.
and moving on to Liverpool, Man City.
I mean, it's a shootout, really. It's a 50-50 game, in my opinion, but I'm going to stick with my original prediction. I'm going to go 1-1. So two draws and some. Or,
I think you've
sorry,
undersold
no.
these two games. I
But
think it's gonna be a lot more. I think it's gonna be a lot more goals than you think. I
that
think.
always happens.
Go ahead.
That always happens in big games in Super Sunday. They be built up to be these titanic clashes,
The
and they
way
always
these two
end up.
teams, the way these four teams are playing at the minute, scoring loads of goals,
How do you see it?
I think if you look at it, all four teams are much better going forward than they are at the back. You look at Arsenal.
Surprising.
Arsenal are as good going forward as they are at the back. So they can win a different way. Liverpool and Man City, I think, they outscore each other, and Villa Spurs the same.
How do you see it?
I am going to go for 2-3-2 away victories.
Oh,
Spurs they won 3-2, and Man City they won 3-2.
Liverpool
But I do expect
will
both
team
games
up.
to be tight, and it could go either way.
I, well, by the next time I'm on the podcast, we'll know how it's shaping up.
We will. Owen, it's been great having you back on. If you haven't seen Owen's videos on Liverpool, check out the Anfield Owen Kelly at the Anfield Road. Match previews and match reaction to all Liverpool games. I'm sure you'll be looking forward to doing his one for Sunday.
Yep.
He'll probably do that Friday or Saturday, we
I think I'm looking for Friday.
Friday night, and then you'll probably get his reaction on Sunday after the game, providing he's in the right state of mind to do it. So we'll see.
No, even if we lose, it'll be up there. I'll probably be crying, but it'll be up there.
Owen, it's been great having you back on. Take care. I'll see you soon. If you're new around here, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more content. Owen, top man.
Cheers, lad.